Hey everyone, so today I'm going to show you how I made this Santa bag. I did a lot of trial and error and this is what I found. First of all, you need a good template, and this is the template I had. It's a lot of text and there's just that small postage stamp on the top. I used the Cricut machine to cut out all the text. I didn't even try to cut it by hand, and the Cricut machine did awesome in cutting the postage stamp and the letters, as you will see in the video. So first of all, this is my Cricut with the image already uploaded into it, and like I said, it cut out the image for me. And I did 3 different versions. First of all, I tested vinyl, iron-on vinyl, and this is sort of a glitter material that you iron on. And I have to tell you, it's the best way to go if you're going to do a project like this. Using the Cricut to cut out the letters and then just ironing it on makes life so much easier, and it is expensive though. I have to admit, this iron-on vinyl is not cheap. So that's why I did 2 other methods to see if that would save me money, if it would look better. So I made a stencil out of vinyl. And this is not the iron-on vinyl, this is just kind of like sticker paper. And it's a 12 by 24 sheet at Joann. I used transfer tape to transfer the image onto my canvas. Now, like I said, this is not the iron-on vinyl, so this is just kind of like a giant sticker that I made. And I thought I could use transfer tape, transfer it onto the canvas material, and then use it as a stencil. Well, one thing I learned is that this material is not sticky enough to stick to the canvas, and I had to put a lot of pressure to get it to sort of stay in place when removing the transfer tape, and you can see it's all wrinkly. I used a little bit of tape to hold it down, but I still tried it. And the one thing about this is that when you're painting it with a fabric paint, the moisture doesn't affect the vinyl, so you're able to dry it quickly and it doesn't bleed as much, and the effect is so much better. And I did love how it looked sort of painted onto the canvas rather than having the iron-on vinyl. But it did take a lot of work, and there's definitely some bleeding in some areas, as you can see. But overall, it was okay. It was a lot of work. I wouldn't suggest it at all unless it's a small design. So then I thought, well, I can make it out of freezer paper because I've done this before. And freezer paper is a little bit delicate. I love the fact that you can iron it on and it really does stay really well. The less graphic, the better. The simpler the text, the better. But I kind of messed up on this, and it took a lot of time to arrange the pieces. I wasn't thinking that well when I was doing this, but you can see how it irons on very, very well. The only problem with this is that when you add that fabric paint, the freezer paper will wrinkle up and there is so much bleeding. You have to be really careful that you don't oversaturate the freezer paper, or it will bleed. It doesn't look neat, and unfortunately that's what happened to me on this project. I made 2 different Santa bags, and this is the second Santa bag, and you can see how much fabric paint I added, and when I remove it, you can tell how well the freezer paper sticks, but because it gets wet and wrinkly with the fabric paint, it bleeds through, and you can definitely tell that in the smaller text. The larger text, not so much bleeding, but the smaller text definitely has a lot of bleeding because the moisture from the fabric paint onto the freezer paper it doesn't work out. And unfortunately, that's one of the hard things about this project, is that it's so much work to get these sort of stencils, because you have to iron on the little tiny pieces. So like on the letter R or the letter P, those little pieces, it was very, very time consuming, and I cannot stress it, but it did come out really cute at the end, and I can live with it. And the fact is that I made it for my kids, and they know I've spent the time in making this for them, although they think it came from Santa Claus. So those are the 3 methods, and if I had to advise you on how to do this, I would say go with the iron-on vinyl. It's expensive, but totally worth it at the end. I tested all these methods out, and let me tell you, if you want something quick, easy, and adorably cute, I would go with the iron-on vinyl. It's worth the spending. And the other methods, unless you want to take on a large project and a lot of patience, that's probably the way to go. Thanks, I hope you like and subscribe.